What's up, guys? John Levesque here, and I am bringing you flow plus forms plus teams to bring you awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the material. First things first, a little bit about me. So, my name is John Levesque. I'm a senior program manager on the Microsoft Flow team. I'm focused on the things of evangelism, community, and engagement. So what's that mean? It means there's a bunch of amazing people that are building this great Flow product, and then there's me that's trying to help make it known, to get you to engage with it, to get you to be a part of the community, to get you to talk about it. Okay, so where can you find me? I'm on Twitter at John J. Levesque. Also, you can find me referenced a lot under hashtag JohnFlow. Shout out to my Game of Thrones fans, Jon Snow, John Flow. And also, I'm on YouTube. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Flow, if you want to see over 50 videos and new stuff every week focused on Flow, go ahead and check out that link right there, youtube.com/John L. Seattle. Okay, one more piece. I am actually part of the engineering team and not part of the marketing team. Funny enough, I think I'm the loudest voice out there, but yeah, I'm actually part of the engineering group. A couple things about me, and I promise I'll jump right in. So I'm a huge fan of drones and video. I love Game of Thrones. I did anyways until the last few episodes. And funny enough, I've actually landed my dream job, which is this. I always told people when I was a kid, I was like, watch, one day they're going to pay me just to talk. And here I am. Talk, make videos, write blogs, hang out with the community, go speak on stage. It's talk to customers. It's the dream job. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the material. All right, so the very first thing I want to do with you here is actually take you through the Flow homepage, because there's a couple things I want to point out to you, okay? So the first one is we actually have a featured template collection that's focused just on education. So if we hit this little slider right here, you can see I have this 6 templates to simplify common classroom tasks. And so if we just go ahead and click on that, then we are taken here into this new little area where we can see a bunch of templates. So these are what we call Flow templates. So you can see here's a collection about see when assignments are ready. And so we have an option, notify me in Outlook when a student completes a quiz, or notify me and store the response when a student completes a quiz. That's a cool one. More focused on students here, synchronize and share projects easily. You can keep your portfolio in sync or copy your schoolwork to OneDrive. Also documenting classroom activity. Visualize classroom walkthrough data in Power BI. Save your classroom walkthrough data. I don't know why that was so hard for me. Also relating to calendars. So a couple options there. So let's go ahead and actually click into this guy. Notify me and store the response when a student completes a quiz. Because I don't know about you, but all of the teachers that I have talked to, a lot of them that are O365 enabled are using Microsoft Forms. And so this actually gets pretty handy because we can begin to keep all the information in one place, right? So let's go ahead and click Add. You're going to see that it takes me here to a template screen where it's going to then ask for all of my credentials, and now you can see here it's actually already filled them all in for me because I'm logged into everything. For you, you may have to give these some permissions, but once you do, you just go ahead and click Continue. Oh, it doesn't like those. So now I'll update that. And there we go. Okay, so now what we can see is I am inside of a template. And the template is a set of building blocks for me that's going to allow me to do a predetermined set of things. So right here, it's saying when a new response is submitted to a form. Well, which form? Let's see. Well, what do I have here? Looks like I have a lot of options. So let's go ahead and go with like this Microsoft Flow questionnaire. Okay, and then now I have to step down again, and now I'm going to have to actually fill in this form ID. And so I'm going to choose the same exact form again, Microsoft Flow questionnaire. Okay, and now those two parts are done. And what have I done here? I have gone ahead and said when a new response is submitted to the Flow questionnaire, grab the list of responses and get all of the response details for all of the questionnaire items, right? And so now let's just go take a look at that really quick. Microsoft Flow questionnaire. So here it is. First name, last name, email address, the name of this event, your job title, your home city, what's your experience with Flow, I want to learn blank about Flow, why have you come to this session, and would you like an email full of Flow resources and materials? Now, you can see that this is a bit more of a questionnaire, but the same thing applies for a quiz. If we were to set up a quiz with multiple choice that said, what is the capital of Washington, right? We know that that's Olympia. So you could have Seattle, you could have Tacoma, you could have Olympia, right? And your quiz would work very much in the same way as the questionnaire. Okay? So now let's go ahead and go back over to the flow. All right, and so now we have to send ourselves an email notification. So we have a subject and a body. And so in the subject, we can go ahead and put something like new survey response. And in the body, we can do something like this. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and change this to new quiz response for you. So then we can do like our new response was submitted to the Flow quiz. And then we can go down and do something like this. So first name, space, last name. And then we could do, I want to learn, and put a colon, and then we can just click this. And so what we're doing here is adding content out of the quiz so that this way we'll actually get a personalized response here that shows us some of the information. Let's go ahead and add one more just for the fun of it. Let's put, what's your experience with Flow? Okay, so now that's good enough. Now, let's close that up. On to the next step. This is how we create an item in a SharePoint list. And why are we going to do this? Because that way we don't have to go back into forms. So for each form, we don't have to like go into forms here and then go into our questionnaire and then go into the response tab to look at all the data and then open it in Excel. It's just a pain, right? And so now instead what we do is we go ahead and we create an item inside of a SharePoint list. And so I don't think we actually have a SharePoint list at the moment. So let's go ahead and open one really quick and make one. I'll show you how to make a SharePoint list just in case you don't know how. So we'll go here into this is my SharePoint site, and now I'm going to go new list, and I'll name it Flow Quiz Demo, and then I'll show it in my site navigation here so it's easy for me to find, and I'll hit create. And now what we should see is Flow Quiz Demo right here. See it on the left, and now we're inside of it. So we have a title field, and now we can begin to add columns. So the first thing we want to do is we want to map our fields, right? So in our questions we have first, last name, email, name of event. Okay, so what we would do here is in our SharePoint list, first thing is we'll go to, I'm going to show you a little trick. So you can't actually change this column title. It's going to stay as title. Even if you do rename, behind the scenes it's going to stay as title. So to change that away from title, what we'll actually do here is we'll go to list settings, and then we'll come over to here and click on title. And then here, we'll write first name. And then we'll hit OK. Sorry for how loud my keyboard is. It's a mechanical. I'm getting used to it myself. All right, so now we'll go back to the Flow Quiz demo. We can see first name there. We'll add another column. And we'll call it last name. And we want a single line of text. That's good. And if we go back to our form, it's email and name of event. So next one, I'm going to use single line of text. Flow consumes string values, text values, much easier, so there's no need to really try and get fancy and like use a person field or something here. I just use text because it passes simply. Again, single line of text. And so what you can see I'm doing here is I'm just going to map all these fields from my quiz over to my Sharepoint site, okay? And so the next one is job title and home city. And what's your experience with Flow? And I want to learn blank. And then why have you come and can I email you? All right, and so now we actually have our Sharepoint list here that maps to our form. And so now if we go back to our flow and we save this guy, oh, it's going to give us an error because it wants us to put something in here. So let's see if it will pull this down without a refresh. Let's cross our fingers. Community and engagement. Flow quiz demo. Hey, look at that. It worked. We didn't even have to save or refresh. Okay, so now is the fun part. So now you saw me earlier kind of go through this list and click some things in here. I mapped those out myself. Well, now the Sharepoint list here has actually mapped those out for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and click these one-to-one. First name to first name. And last name to last name. And email address to email address. Okay, so now they're all mapped one-to-one. Boom. Easy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save this flow. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my email, and we're going to let that load in the background. I'm going to go to my form and fill this out. Okay, and now I will go ahead and click submit. And if we go back to our flow here, we should see, boom, that it actually started a second ago and that it's running right now and that it's run successfully. So when a new response is submitted, go ahead and get the details, send an email notification, and create an item in the Sharepoint list with all of my info. Okay, so now let's see if it actually worked. First we go to my mail. New quiz response. Here we go. A new response was submitted to the Flow quiz. First name, last name. I want to learn expressions. What's your experience? 4. I can make Flow do what I need. Now, you can see that this needs a little bit of formatting, but very quickly you can see how you get notified with real information that people put into this quiz, so you don't have to be going back and forth between places looking for stuff. Okay, so now that's pretty cool, right? let's go ahead and look at the next part. So now if we go here to this list, look at all that. Look at the information's already here. I didn't even have to refresh the page. So the flow went ahead and created an item inside of this SharePoint list that we just created. It sent me an email notification with all of the information that I outlined in it right here. And it just took me all of 16 minutes to put that together. And so now, since I have a little bit of time left, and this is about Teams, let's go ahead and use Teams to take this to the next level. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to add a new action, and we need to type in Teams. All right, that is going to give us our list. We're going to click on Microsoft Teams, and then we are going to use post your own adaptive card as the flow bot to a user. We want to post this to a user in a private chat because we wouldn't want our answers to go out to a whole Teams channel unless we did want that. But I feel like for quizzes and things, most of the time you're going to want answers to stay private. So we're going to go ahead and assume here that we're going to want to post your own adaptive card as the flow bot to a user. Let's go ahead and click on that. Now, since I want the results of the quiz, because I'm the teacher, I'm going to go ahead and have this send to me. Okay, there I am. Now I have the opportunity to put in a message. And so this is where we get to work out an adaptive card, okay? So what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go into the adaptive card tool, and we're going to, which is adaptivecards.io. You can see that there. And then we're going to click on Designer. Now this brings us to our actual adaptive card designer. So you can see there's a lot of things over here on the side. There's a whole structure over here. There's a bunch of JSON that you can manipulate down here. I'm going to actually just go ahead and work in the card. Okay, so you can see that I can actually just click in here and start to work with this card. So what I'm going to put is new quiz response. Okay, and so then we can see that this is just a text block, and so what we can put here is name. We don't need this date, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then we'll say the responses can be seen at the following link. We'll just get rid of some of these sections we don't need. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm keeping this simple, but you could absolutely go in here and edit this adaptive card to your heart's content. I just want to keep it simple for the purpose of this, but here we go. So we can see that one of these, view right here, is actually a URL. So what we'll put is like view answers, and then what we can do is we can go to the SharePoint list and we can grab the list here and we can put in that URL right there. So we can actually copy the card JSON here. We'll go over to flow and we'll actually paste that here inside of our message. Okay, so now let's go ahead and use the flow checker. Okay, we have no errors and no warnings. That's a good sign. Let's go ahead and save our flow. And now let's test it. And we'll say that we're going to use the data that I just used a minute ago, 10 minutes ago. So we'll save and test here. And the flow is going to kick off. We're going to see the apply to each is running. So right now it's getting the response details. It's going to send me an email notification. Let's see if it did. Okay, good. Same information as before, which we actually wanted because we reran the flow test, right? Okay, and now we'll go here. We'll see that our information is there in the SharePoint list. And oh, look at this. I have a notification happening in Teams. Let's go here and see Flo sent a card. Oh, we have that picture still. We got to get rid of the picture. Okay, this is good. And so new quiz response, name, responses can be seen at the following link. Okay, awesome. And then if I click view answers, my browser comes up, takes me to that list. Awesome. Okay, good. So far, so good. But you know what? I'm still not happy. Let's make it cooler. All right, so what I've gone ahead and done is I have tweaked a new adaptive card here. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish the last thing. Okay, we'll say new quiz response. I want their name, and I want answer 1 and answer 2. Okay, which is going to be, let's just say for fun here, it's going to be email address and name of the event. Okay, email address, name of the event, because we're going to have their name already. So we'll just use the next two. So let's go back to our flow. Let's click edit. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of this. Let's go back to our adaptive card. Let's copy the card JSON and let's repaste it. Okay, but now though, we have to come inside of here because I want us to actually mess with something. So I want you to click your mouse right here next to name if you're following along. And then we're going to come down into our dynamic content and we're going to click first name, and then we're going to click back here, space, come all the way back down to the bottom, and last name. Okay, now answer 1, we're going to put, what did we say? We said email address, and answer 2, we said name of the event. Okay, so now we've gone ahead and added some dynamic content to our adaptive card to give us a little bit more information so that we have more info inside of Teams, okay? So let's go ahead and save this. And then let's use the flow checker. Excellent. No errors, no warnings. Let's go ahead and test it using our original data one more time. Save and test. The flow is running. Response is submitted. Apply to each begins. We're getting all the response details right now. We send a notification. We create an item. We post the adaptive card. So again, one more time. Back in, we have the email. Excellent. Back to the SharePoint list. We have our third entry. Awesome. Now, if we go into Teams, boom. Look at that. New quiz response. Name John Doe. Answer 1, which is email, is right there. Answer 2, which is name of the event, is right there. If I would like more information, I can go ahead and click View Answers, which then is going to pop me out right here into my list exactly as I want so I can get all of the answers. Pretty sweet, right? And so now imagine the things you can do. You can begin to get information right to you where you're working without interruption. All right, so I want to spend my last few minutes with you now giving you some other materials that are going to help you be super successful with Flow. Hopefully this got you interested and wet your whistle about what's possible for Teams, Flow, and Forms in the education space. But if that's the case, let's go ahead and give you some more goodness. So the very first thing I want to point out, I'm going to actually go ahead and open each of these. The first one is the Flow community. And so this is where there are over 200,000 other Microsoft Flow users that are here every month that are posting questions, answering questions. We have a whole crew of people we call Flow Knots that if you actually get very involved in the community, you win all sorts of swag, t-shirts, gear, stickers. You also get special badges and permissions and elevated rights and all sorts of cool stuff. So this is definitely the place to get info, to get connected, to find out what's going on, and to get your questions answered. Okay, that's one. Next one is Flow in a Day. So now this one's going to look a little bit different. What this one is actually a OneDrive link to a set of files, okay? There is a deck here, a presentation. There is also a lab, a set of labs. And then there is a trainer's guide, okay? So what this is a 8-hour lab training. 4 hours instructor-led, 4 hours hackathon-style learning for you to get fully immersed in flow, to start from zero and go to hero, okay? That's a good one, so definitely make sure and check out Flow in a Day. The next one, Flow Tutorials. My personal favorite, probably a little bit biased, but this is a playlist of flow tutorial videos, 55 of them now, and you'll notice a familiar face. This is my playlist. I add a new video every week. So if you like how I teach, if you want to learn more about flow, if you're interested in actually learning more about Teams in Flow, I have a bunch of videos in here on Teams in Flow right now that you can check out to get more information about the things we were just looking at. There's adaptive cards. There's all sorts of goodness in there. And I'm almost out of time, so I want to get to the very last one, finally, but not least for sure. This is the Flow Conference registration, okay? And so this is a free conference where you're going to be able to come and watch all day long. All of the Flow experts from around the world give you half-hour sessions just like this to get you up to date on how to use Microsoft Flow in all the best ways. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this up so you can take down all of these links. Okay, they're all right there. Thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you so much for being educators and using O365 and now checking out Microsoft Flow. It is an honor to get to be here with you, to get to show you this material. If you want to reach out to me, you guys have a bunch of ways you can. You saw my email in there. You saw my Twitter handle. You have my YouTube. Please feel free to reach out. It would be an honor to speak to you. Thanks again for having me. Much love. See you later.